Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Brooke. If you're not, then hi. I want to review this Haley's Beauty foundation. I found them on Instagram. I'm going to show you in this video. I did half my face with the Beauty Blender, half my face with the foundation brush, my flat top foundation brush. So if you want to see what I think about this foundation and how it applies, just keep watching. So I got my foundation. I have my It Cosmetics foundation brush. It's their flat top foundation brush. And I also have my damp Beauty Blender. So this side of my face I'm going to do with the Beauty Blender. This side of my face I'm going to do with the brush. The box says, for best results, apply with a sponge to build full coverage. So this isn't going to be a first impression because I have already used it, like I said. But this is going to be showing you the difference in using like a foundation brush or using the Beauty Blender. I have been using it with the Beauty Blender and I feel like I get a very good coverage with it. I'm just going to show you how it applies, how it looks when it applies. So let's go. So I am self-tanned. I self-tan the rest of my body. I don't self-tan my face. So I get a darker foundation. So that's why there's going to be a difference. But I'm going to show you how it looks when it goes on. I don't know if you can see on camera if it's showing up, but it is very orange. So I'm sure, as you can tell, it applies very orange. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel cakey. It's a thicker foundation, but it doesn't feel like it when it's on your skin. So this is just one layer of that with the Beauty Blender. I'm going to go in and do the brush now. Since this side is less coverage than the Beauty Blender side, I'm just going to go in with one more layer just to see how it is if you wanted to build it. Like, does it get cakey? Does it move around or anything? So I'm just going to go in with a little bit more to build it up and see how it's going to work. So I don't feel like going in with that second coat, it really made it cakey or anything. It just kind of feels like the other side. I think I actually prefer, I know the box says to use the Beauty Blender, but I think I actually prefer using the brush. It just looks a little bit more airbrushed to me. It doesn't look as just like packed on as the Beauty Blender can get it. I'm going to see if I can soak up any extra product that would be on there. Now I know the color, it doesn't look natural because it is like an orangey tone, you can tell, but I am self-tan, so I noticed once I put on my like concealers, powders, bronzers, contour, everything, it kind of just, it went in better. You definitely can't use this foundation alone, which I don't know how many people just use foundation alone and don't go in with any contouring or highlighting or anything like that. It kind of blends in more after the rest of your makeup is on. And I also, when I was just like using this foundation for the last few days, I haven't changed up anything different. I've been using the same primers, concealers, powders, everything on top of the foundation and underneath, so I would know if something was different. I would know how it would react to everything, and everything has been good. So this is the Haley's Reset Liquid Matte Mattifying Foundation. It's 1.1 fluid ounce, which is just like any normal foundation. It does come in a pretty cool packaging. It's kind of sleek. So this is the bottle, and it's flat. So it's just gonna go straight under any foundation or drawer, anything you need it to. You just take the top off and you're gonna squeeze it out. I'm going to read what the box says so you can get a feel of what they claim. This complexion perfecting liquid foundation offers seamless coverage, comfortable long wear, and a striking matte finish. Everything they said, yes. Formulated with a double dose of pigments, Reset Liquid Matte delivers an instant coverage to help hide all skin imperfections. It says plus an exclusive antioxidant blend that help nourish, smooth, and protect skin. I think that's pretty awesome. If you're gonna add some nourishing and smoothing and protecting to my skin, I'm all for it. Go for it, especially with my huge pores. You could swim in them. It says for best results, apply with a sponge. Build to full coverage by layering as needed. So if you can tell in me doing my foundation with the Beauty Blender and the brush, I obviously love this foundation. I've been wearing it for the last 3 days. Normally in 2 to 3 days, sometimes even after the first day, I'm so sensitive. I have such sensitive skin that in at least 2 days, I'll notice not breakouts as in pimples. I'll get these like little knots under my skin. It's like an allergic reaction. That's how I know, well, I gotta stop this. But I haven't had any issues with that whatsoever. I don't have to blot. I don't have to do anything. It just stays in place all day long. It was yesterday, it was like 90 degrees, I think, and it was humid, of course. So that's when I was really going to tell if this foundation was matte or not, because a lot of foundations claim to be matte, and with my oily T-zone, no, they're not. I'm oily in my T-zone. I'm pretty much normal everywhere else. So in my T-zone, I can really tell if foundation is going to break down, if it's just not going to stay all day. But this stayed all day long yesterday. I wish I would have taken pictures, but I didn't think about it. You can see, putting it on, it was orangey, but I feel like after all the rest of my makeup is on and everything is done, I can get away with it because I self-tan. One of my favorite girls that I follow on my Instagram, she also got this foundation. She's pale and she bought the lightest shade, and it is still very like yellowy undertone, not neutral whatsoever. And so if you're neutral to pink undertone, I'm not sure how this foundation shade range is going to work for you. I feel like maybe they're a new company, they're testing things out, they're going to get some colors out and then get some feedback, hopefully, and have a wider shade range, because the shade range, it wasn't much to pick from. So I just kind of went off of what numbers do I normally go to in my other foundations. So I just went with 4.50, and I can get away with it. I'm not going to say it's a perfect match, but I can get away with it. Like I said earlier, this dries down to like a powder finish. It's not going to be tacky. It's not going to have to be a foundation you're going to have to set. This goes on, and as soon as you've kind of blended it in with the Beauty Blender or the brush, it dries instantly. It's like a powder finish instantly, and I really like that because I've recently been starting to not set my foundation on the outside of my face, only in my T-zone, and I really like how this, you just put it on and it dries instantly. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy that this foundation stays all day long. It doesn't move, it doesn't budge. I think the only bad thing I can say about this foundation is the shade range isn't so wide, and it is more of an orangey undertone, but some people have the orangey undertone, so it's gonna work perfect for them. I feel like if you self-tan, you can get away with this. I feel like with my skin texture, I have textured skin, I have large pores, I have oily T-zone. In my T-zone, I'll use the Smashbox Pore Minimizing Primer or my Benefit Professional Primer. Sometimes at the end of the day, I'll see where my foundations have just sunk into my pores, sunk into like my smile lines and everything. In this area, especially like right in here in my nose, it's just like sunk in and it looks gross. I don't experience that with this foundation. But overall, I really love this foundation. I know I only got it for the shipping price, but I feel like when I run out of this foundation, especially only being $22, I'm definitely going to repurchase this foundation. I definitely recommend picking up this foundation. I am loving it. So that is it for this video. If you like this review, just make sure to thumbs up and subscribe so I'll know to do more.